God, I wish I didn't fuck myself last podcast.
So Jim, last podcast, for those of you, if you didn't watch it, you can click the link below, and I'm going to put this here. And Jim had this master plan. He was going to get me. He was going to get me real good.
I had a good one.
In the overrated, underrated section, we always go over, we each take a side now. One of us overrated, one of us underrated. So Jim was going to be a smart guy and say, I'm going to pick Brian's favorite game, Resident Evil. And I'm going to make him talk about how it's overrated. And you know what? It was really tough for me because I was like, fuck, how am I going to say this? I'm letting him go first.
I don't think we need a detailed recap of this.
So in the end, like every debate, I won. But this time I won without even speaking because Jim decided to take the wrong side.
Because I forgot what I set up.
Listen, I know I'm rambling on this, but it's worth saying, Jim, because what is about to happen is a reverse for our two bits, which is better and overrated, underrated. So which is better, Jim? The first one.
Right.
The Sega Genesis or the N64?
Genesis.
Just like that.
Better library.
Okay.
And I love me the N64, don't get me wrong.
No, so what you're saying is the N64 is not that good because it's losing out to a system which...
Pretty sure I didn't say that.
So, because we've established on the site many times over, and our fans especially, that the Genesis is under the Super NES by far. And we've already established most...
And we've also established that it's just RPG dorks who didn't get to leave the house.
Most ports of games were always better on the Super NES, except for like 3 examples, which I know you'll throw Aladdin out there because meh. But my point is, we've established that. So in the hierarchy, you're saying, like I've said before, N64 is down there.
Like I said, if you want to see which games are better between the two systems, go sub to our buddies at Console Wars, because that's basically what they do.
Yeah, it is. And Super NES usually wins.
Incorrect.
So you're just flat out Sega Genesis is better than 64.
Yeah.
Even as a couch co-op multiplayer?
Couch co-op multiplayer. Well, you know what? As far as co-op goes, Genesis, I don't know. That almost might be a wash at that point. Now, just straight up like couch party multiplayer kind of stuff.
Just couch multiplayer.
Couch multiplayer and 64.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, there's adapters out there, and I did a video on that before, too, for the Genesis to have 4-player gaming, but, it's built in, the games are designed for it, So, yeah, N64 has it there. But just in the grand scheme of, like, diversity of the library, overall quality of the games that you get, and, hell, you can even say controller, Genesis is better.
Back the fuck up for 1 second. Did you just make it sound like there's a hair of the Genesis controller over the N64? Did you just really...
I'm an N64 controller fan. I like the controller.
What fucks me up about you saying that is you said it because you so believe it. It's not even... If you were saying it to piss me off, I know the tone in which you would have said it. Jim.
Look, Brian, people call Galileo crazy, all right? People call the great minds of our generations crazy people.
I'm fine with you being a defender of N64 and terrible systems. I can get over a lot of bias you have because of how you grew up with games. But if you can't be honest, then you are... you're fucked up. That's all. If you're going to sit there and act like, oh, man, in gaming controllers, it's like, man, Genesis could be here, and N64 is right underneath. Are you? Fuck.
I'm so glad I worded it that way.
You didn't even do it on purpose. That's my point. If you did it...
Probably everything that I do is in some way to disappoint you.
That's just because you generally disappoint everyone, Jim. My point is, God damn it, I can't believe you just fucking... Okay, so you just broke my goddamn head with that.
Man, I almost turned this one around on you just by my jackassery. It's fucking great.
So I completely agree Genesis is better than N64. I think of one of the biggest reasons is 20 years from now, when we're older, and really not even in collecting scene.
Hopefully, dear God, please. I hope I'm not still wasting my money on this shit.
You still will be.
Probably.
But
I have so few hobbies.
Our kids and kids of the next generation, I think, like, we'll go back and still go hard on Genesis and those games because they just age so much better. I think they'll be the generation that kind of completely says like
that
N64.
whole fifth gen,
Yeah.
that whole generation aged terribly.
Oh, yeah.
The Saturn, PS1, N64, like.
Yeah, exactly. But so that's part of why I think Genesis is better. And this is because I wasn't sure where you were going to go. Was I just think its longevity and how it aged is much better.
Oh yeah.
Now, and also we've covered this, and I know you're not going to admit it, but both of them kind of have rougher sounds. The Genesis has its unique sound.
Well, yeah, Genesis has its unique sound, but it's easy, and a lot of companies, especially Western developers, were very lazy, so they didn't really put a lot of effort into it, and the games do sound like shit.
Yeah.
And the N64, of course, is going to sound worse than everything else that's on an optical disc because you're not going to have that quality.
Yeah. And of course, someone's going to point out, like, the 5 games that are great on the N64 sound-wise. Just be honest. The sound
it has a lot of great soundtracks on it.
Once again, just like the same guy.
Just because they're not as clear and fully like ripped out of an opera hall.
That's a big deal. You're making it sound like just because they sound like some shit's getting scratched against a goddamn wall, but there's some melody in the background that you can kind of make out.
If you
doesn't mean it's bad.
If you layer enough MIDI tracks on top of each other, you can have something sound good. You can still be a genius with that shit.
Jim,
it might be even more impressive because you have less to work with.
I know you're part of the globalist, but can you just admit for once?
Look, Bri, the pig, half-human embryos are trying to harvest out organs from the babies that they keep alive for 2 weeks because it's more money for they to keep it that way.
Jim, you're kind of like right now.
The globalist out there!
You're like Eddie Bravo arguing that the earth is flat. And I'm just trying to bring in reason. Like, just admit that you're fucking with me right now. Or that you realize what you're saying is crazy. And that you're just doing it from a biased standpoint. That's all you gotta say. That's it.
Globalists.
So,
I used to have 10 Swiss bank accounts, and they all got closed after they called me the Sandy Hook guy.
So, I'm sure there's people out there that love the show on N64 and will defend it to the death against the Genesis. This was, once again, completely aimed at Jim because it's his 2 favorite consoles.
Yeah, 2 of my favorites.
Yeah.